Hello, everyone. My name's Jim Suozzo. I'm the chairman of the Ridgewood Guild International Film Festival. And tonight we're having a panel amongst industry leaders in New Jersey. They're going to tell you about their experiences making films here in New Jersey and perhaps other places for contrast. And they're also going to let you know about what different services and businesses that service the film industry we have here in New Jersey. And we're very excited to introduce to you our speaker. So let me do that now. First up is Dom Lampasona. So Dom is an award-winning independent filmmaker, and he's currently the DI post-producer at New Jersey's first ever post-production company, Phiphen Studios. As a Phiphen Studios team member, he has worked on high-level productions shot within New Jersey the last 2 years, films including Al Pacino, Sean Penn, Dakota Johnson, Julia Stiles, Bill Murray, and many more. As a film director, Dom's previous sci-fi short film, The Morning Breeze, is a 5-time winner of Best Short Film. And that film was also featured in our festival back in 2022. And it was actually produced by another one of our speakers tonight. Dom continues to write and develop both short and feature scripts as he strives to fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming a successful filmmaker. And I'll go ahead and introduce the other speakers that we have as well. Greg D'Alessandro is editor-in-chief and CEO of Weekly World News. Greg has written and edited thousands of articles for WWN and created numerous characters over the years. Based in both LA and New Jersey, Greg is a prolific writer who has worked for many studios and production companies, including Warner Brothers, Imagine, Alloy Entertainment, Comedy Central, and Sony Pictures Entertainment. He has also written material for Sesame Street and Nickelodeon. Greg co-founded Weekly World News Studios in 2021 and launched a production hub in Vineland, New Jersey. He recently set up 3 projects with the production companies in LA and is currently in pre-production on both the sequel to The Zombie Wedding and a film co-written with a Japanese director entitled The Mermen of Manasquan. Greg has also had several plays produced off-Broadway. He earned his master's degree in screenwriting from the USC School of Cinematic Arts and the UCLA School of Theater, Television, and Film, where he also taught. Next, we have Glenn Allen, who's worked on some of the most successful movies and television projects. He's the producer, director, editor, or visual effects producer on over 120 feature films and television shows spanning 30 years, earning 2 Emmy Awards as a visual effects producer on HBO's Boardwalk Empire. He is the co-owner of an award-winning visual effects studio, Brainstorm Digital. And aside from working on Ron Howard's editing team for 15 years, Glenn has worked with such filmmakers as Martin Scorsese, Tim Burton, Brian De Palma, Jonathan Demme, Aaron Sorkin, Ari Aster, and the Safdie brothers. Glenn also produced the acclaimed History Channel series, The Men Who Built America, and served as its VFX supervisor. So I wanted to thank all of you for your time tonight, and I want to turn it over to Dom and just let everyone know that you can hold your questions to the end, and we'll have an opportunity for you to ask questions of all these speakers. And when we're done filming at 9 o'clock and recording, we're going to have a little networking session for anyone who wants to hang on the Zoom. So I'll turn it over to Dom.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. It's pretty much an honor to be here. In fact, that, my short film was just in Ridgewood, 2 years ago, and now I'm here kind of presenting it. So it's pretty cool opportunity. So thanks for having me. As Jim mentioned, I am the post-producer at Phiphen Studios. It's the first post-production studio in New Jersey where we do all editorial, finishing, mastering, all that. And we've been basically established since October 2022. I've been with them for almost 2 years now, so it's pretty cool to kind of see the post side of it in that sense. We also do have a sister company. Is Our founder is Molly Connors. She's been in the business for 15 years, numerous award-winning films as well. So it's great that I can kind of see both sides of development, pre-production, all the way to kind of, post and finishing. So it's kind of a little bit about it. And I do have a video and presentation that I'll kind of share right now, if I can find it. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay.
With so much production coming to New Jersey, we saw an opportunity because there wasn't a single post facility in the state of New Jersey.
What led us to starting this post facility in New Jersey was watching the trend of filmmakers and content creators all migrate to the state.
We've been doing this for so long that we know how vital post-production is to the process. We've created this space to cater to filmmakers and their needs, from our top-of-the-line equipment to our amazing staff. A filmmaker here has everything they need to finish their film. We built this space with content creators in mind. The incentive here in New Jersey is one of the strongest in the nation. It encourages films of all sizes here to shoot.
We were able to have this amazing space. We took advantage of the fact that we could build here and be the first post-production facility in New Jersey.
This facility has everything you need for your project.
All right. So just a little intro. I, of course, had to make my cameo in there if you saw that. But yeah, so I will pull up the presentation. But yeah, we basically have had a really cool opportunity within the last 2 years, kind of established ourselves in New Jersey. Our kind of main bread and butter right now is dailies and archival, and I'll kind of dive into that here. But so our services are dailies and archival, editorial slash edit rentals, sound equipment, then conform process, color and finishing, and master and delivery. So I will go to dailies and archival. So basically what dailies and archival is, every day production that we work with, they'll drop their media off every single day. So we'll receive the original camera media and sound rolls each day of production, utilizing a software that we have internally here. It's Color Front's Onset Dailies. So it's kind of the industry standard when it comes to processing dailies. So what we do there, we have a dailies op, and myself included, that will kind of go back and forth, and we'll sync sound with the original camera media, add showlets onto footage, which the showlet is typically created by your colorist and DP prior to production. And then we will render out those editorial dailies and screeners. So we'll basically make proxy files for the editorial dailies at resolution 1080p. So it's just more seamless for the editing team to kind of cut with for as long as the duration of post-production on it. And then we will send those screener dailies to all the production members if we're working with a studio or A24, or whoever else needs to see the footage every single day. We send them to them as well every day. So next is editorial services. So at Phiphen Studios, we do have 4 edit rooms for rentals. Right now, we actually have 2 films working out of there. So it's your assistant editor and editor, and they also share an online server that we have that basically, syncs up both their systems, so to make sure they're editing on the same process or the same program, and also using the same media that is on those hard drives. So yeah, we basically cut on Avid Media Composer. That's typically what all the editors will use. It's kind of the industry standard. But we do have, smaller indies or even commercials that'll cut on Premiere Pro as well. So it's just a matter of whatever the editors kind of prefer in that sense. So typically the projects we work on are like tier 1 to tier 2 films. And usually when we're either post supervising or servicing those productions, the director cut typically is like 10 to 12 weeks, but that can change sporadically, just as long as basically goes down to the budget and how long the production can afford. So next is sound. So at Phiphen Studios, we have one audio engineering room and then one audio recording room. Oops, typo there. But yeah, so basically we have an audio booth where anything that you need re-recorded, so ADR, voiceover, even if you want to do audiobooks or something like that. And then we also have that engineering room for our sound editors and mixers to also work out of there with Avid Pro Tools. So that's been a pretty cool process in soundproofing that. And we actually just got our room Adobe certified for streaming services, which was pretty cool. So yeah, so sound editors and mixers basically get to work once picture is locked. And again, depending on the budget and equipment that they kind of have, that process for sound will go from 4 to 6 weeks. So conform does happen after picture lock. So the best way to kind of describe this is conform process upscales the editorial 1080p dailies back to their original camera media resolution. For example, if it was shot on a RE Alexa 35, ProRes 4.6 resolution, we'll take that editorial timeline from that 1920 1080 project file, and then in our conform process, we'll basically upscale that back to the size of the resolution, and then we prep that for our color grading, and then eventually for delivery as well. That's kind of the process for conform. So another service is color and finishing. So color grading takes place with the colorist, director of photography, and the director. It's typically based off of a show LUT, as I said, that they create before production starts, so that your dailies app will apply that to all the editorial and screener dailies. So we also have that basically theater, that color grading theater that was in that video. And that's where your colorist, producer, director, whoever wants to be involved with it, will color out of there for, again, depending on budget, could be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and basically finalize their project into what they need. And the best way to describe it is that anything that gets a theatrical release does need to get colored inside a color theater. It needs to be certified through there. And then the same thing for color grading HDR. That is typically for streaming services or like a at-home release. Usually just, these higher end TVs can handle, the high dynamic range color. So we have a color suite as well that will do both theatrical and HDR depending on what project needs for that. So yeah. Then our last step is master in delivery. So it's the final step of post-production, assembling the final color, final sound assets from your desired workers to export the final film. Deliverables are certain formats that either studios or producers, film festivals, that they need specific, they'll send deliverable lists to a post house to make sure we're, crossing off all the assets that they need delivered to them. And yeah, that's kind of about it. So yeah, I mean, it's fun that we're kind of getting ourselves really established in the Northeast side of it, and just the amount of production coming and all these studios being built in New Jersey is really satisfying for us. And hopefully, on the process of building New Jersey back up to the East Hollywood.
Yeah, back to our roots from Fort Lee a century ago. Well, thanks very much, Don. We appreciate that. I'm sure people have some questions for you at the end. But now I'd like to go back to Greg D'Alessandro, who, as we mentioned, and you can see from behind him, The Zombie Wedding. That's one of the movies we have in our festival this year. It's our feature movie. It's a New Jersey premiere of that. So we're looking forward to that this Thursday night. But Greg, please take it over.
Thanks so much, Jim, and thank you very much. It's an honor to be part of this festival. Thank you to the team, Don, too, everything. We really are very grateful and happy that we're here in the Ridgewood Festival. I've been a writer a long time, lived in LA for a long time, and then the last 8 years I've been going back and forth between Ridgewood and LA. And besides my history, I started writing for Weekly World News in 2000, 1999, 2000, and I've done a lot of work with them. And the paper went. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Weekly World News. It was a tabloid that was sold in supermarkets. Yeah, that's why I put the Bat Boy up there, so people, that's our iconic image. So it went out of print in 2008. Then I had had a successful run online until about 2015. Then it kind of went dormant, and then end of 2019 we started to revive it and taking it to a new direction for, like everyone else, film, TV, podcasts, everything. That's just what we've been working on. We had the pandemic, so we've been doing a lot of my deals in LA. We have a couple right now that we're very excited about that are coming out. But as everyone here knows, in LA, things can take a long time, and there's a lot of people with a lot of layers of approvals and opinions. So in the meantime, we decided that to take the company in a further future direction is to form our own studios. So we formed Weekly World News Studios in 2021, and then our first feature that we got money for was Zombie Wedding. And so we plan to release a number of features because we have 300 characters and about 120,000 articles going back to 1979. So there's a lot of interest. We're trying to position ourselves like a mini Marvel, So, and I think that's starting to catch on. So we take our IP library and trying to take advantage of it. So we were originally going to film Zombie Wedding in New York, upstate New York, Newburgh. There's a Studio Choice Films. Anyone know that up there? Yeah. So we were going to do it up there, but then one of our producers, who's executive producer, raised money, lived down in Bridgeton. He said, "Hey, we'll film the wedding on my property here," and it was beautiful property. But then long story short, we got introduced to the town of Vineland, and Vineland is in an urban economic zone, and they want to try to rebuild the town in a lot of different ways. So they partnered with us on the film, actually. So they helped us, raise money for the film. They participated in the film. We brought people down there. We stayed there for 3 to 4 weeks. We filled 3 hotels and 168 people. And I think it was very successful. And they had us use this building that we have now for our studios. It's a 50,000 square foot building in the center of town. And that's what is going to be Weekly World News Studios. So that's what we are now building. We're in process of getting it all together, so we don't have everything fully together, but we will be completely in the building by June, and it'll be fully launched by January. We already do have a couple other films going in this summer down in Vineland, New Jersey. So I don't have hold on, let me see. Show you something. Let's see. So this is our building. It's in behind a market in Vineland, New Jersey, and this is what they're actually are building now. There's also going to be a golf course in Vineland, New Jersey, by the way. Mike Trout and Tiger Woods are building. So they're really trying to build the town back up a lot. So this market had existed before, and now we're building this. We have the whole building is going to be a studio, a production hub, and in the back we're putting in a volumetric screen. Now, Don probably knows what you guys know about that. A volumetric screen. Let me show you. what that'll look like. Not as good. You see that? I mean, this is an example of what we're putting in. This is a little bigger than what we're putting in, but not that much bigger. So it it's a volume studio. I mean, Don probably better explanation of it technically, but so it's like it's a much higher level than a green screen. It's an LED screen, and you put cameras on the top. You can film things. You can, it gives you depth. It was just used on Saturday Night Live. It's been used in Mandalorian. The Bear used it. A lot of film and TV are using it. Cuts production they cost down by, they say, maybe 20%. And so we're going to film there. You'll see. I think this is can you see that?
Yes.
That sample here. So that's a sample of the Mandalorian, like it will look like, and that's the screen. So we're putting in this screen in the building. This is about a smaller screen. I think it's about 24 feet, 13 feet high. And then in that building that I just showed you, we're building a big screen, 30 feet tall, and it's about 50 or 60 feet in a 270-degree curve. And we're going to do music videos, TV, film, all that. And that will be in September for our, this is a rough look at the building that empty. We're taking these poles out. It's this whole big thing. And the town is helping us in the build and the clean out and everything else. And the front of the building is in the main part of town, which is crazy. If you picture downtown Ridgewood, it's like there, but it's a really big building. It's got several floors. So that's what we're doing. So we plan on filming 2 to 3 movies a year on our own down there, starting in January. And then we're also bringing other productions. We already have 3 or 4 productions coming down. One is going to start shooting in June, and then one in September and one in November in Vineland in our studios, Weekly World News Studios. So and then so that we have other films, but then we also have our own, which is Weekly World News, as you see here. Weekly World News Presents, much like National Lampoon Presents. We're trying to do the same thing, except the only difference is that National Lampoon, they didn't put their brand in the movie, so we're putting our brand in the movies. We have Weekly World News reporters reporting on whatever the topic is, aliens and stuff. And yeah, we have a film we're working on about. We have a lot of things going on with our main character, Bat Boy. But I don't know if I can get this. I don't know how you got the sound, but you guys can't hear that, can you? Can you?
No.
Oh yeah. Well, you can see the image a little bit. So there's Bat Boy. Yeah. I'll let you. See.
And Craig, was that filmed before you had the studio, I guess?
Yeah, we were working on it. This is like a trailer of something that we've been working on. But yeah, so it was before, but we're going to expand that. And we're partnering with musicians. We have to do things. And the B-52s we've been worked on. We worked with Band Devo and other bands that are going to come down. And there's been a lot of fans of Weekly World News over the years. So we're trying to corral everyone that has, had passion for the brand before and come together. And this town in Vineland has been really incredible because they're trying to help their town grow in different ways. And so they're very open to promoting film, TV, production in the town. So they've been super helpful in everything that we do. The hotel owners have been very helpful, restaurants, everybody's been very helpful because they're kind of shifting the town to new directions. So film production is one of them, and we're glad to be part of that. So I
That's
think
great.
that's a quick overview. Yeah.
All right. I appreciate that, Greg. Next,
Thank
we'll turn it over to Glenn Allen. And if he looks familiar, he did a master class for us in special effects just a few years ago, and it was super well received. And it's also up on our YouTube channel if anybody wants to go back and look at that. But Glenn, let us know what you have for us tonight.
All right, thanks, Jim. Appreciate you letting me be here. I love the festival. It's always been great. I'm going to show a bit of our demo reel, and but before that, just so you know, just about every movie will have a need for visual effects in some form. We've worked on movies with a $10,000 budget up to $100 million budget. It seems every movie there's something to do, or there's a light stand in the background or a boom mic that comes in and you have to get rid of it. And of course, you might have things in your movie that you want to plan ahead and do. And as much as AI will do a lot of this for us in the near future, I do believe there'll be a need to have a supervisor or someone that you can consult with. So, and we offer that for free. I'm going to put my email in the chat in a minute. So any of your films, if you need anything or even have a question, please feel free to reach out. So I'll show you a little bit of what we do. I turn the sound off. I'll talk through it. So before that, I started out in editorial. I've been in the business since since high school, really. Worked with Ron Howard for many years, and then it was Ron who kind of suggested that maybe visual effects might be a good avenue for me and my business partner. And we're on our 20th year now. So most of my career has been in post-production, aside from, of course, we go on set all the time. I'll show you a bit of this. So a lot of the work we do is basic compositing. This happens to be a very complicated CG environment because of the nature of the camera moving. Had a very big budget. It was Apple Studios, and they're willing to pay, but they wanted this sweeping kind of scene, this musical scene. So we had to build a CG environment. I'd say
That's
most of the
great.
stuff we do is kind of like this, what you would call 2D compositing. We do a lot of background replacements. As a good example of a green screen, which can be done on the volumetric studio that Greg mentioned. We've done some of that in a movie called No Hard Feelings, which came out last summer. We used a lot of those screens. We prepared a lot of the material for them and shot a bunch of scenes in that kind of a studio. We do a lot of this kind of stuff where, well, obviously, it's replicating crowd work. Again, more crowd duplication. Actually, we shot this river in New Jersey. This river was shot down in Virginia, and they wanted it to be a raging river that she jumps into. So we shot it. There's a dam down near, I think it's near, it's in Bergen County. And it was a dam that had this river, and we shot a bunch of plates, and we made that the river.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, yep.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Amazing. Beautiful.
A lot of this stuff is our fancier work, but we do a ton of uh, very simple visual effects. Like I said, a lot of camera removals. If there's a stunt in a movie, that's a pretty big stunt, but there's some little stunts where there's a lot of wire removals and stuff like that that's really our bread and butter. These are like big shots, mostly planned in advance. This one's interesting though. One of the things that might surprise people is a shot like this seems complicated, but it's really not that complicated. What we ask the filmmakers to do is give us something real in the shot and something that the actors are connected to, because that's probably would be the most difficult part of this whole shot, would be to build the area they're walking on. So they're mostly covered, well, they're covered by green screen and the actual walkway. The rest are just pretty simple plates. And again, AI will do this for you one day. This one's a little different. Full CG ships. This one's interesting. I want to go back to this one as an example of what you can do for a little bit of money that might look impressive, or hopefully looks impressive. I go back to that one. So this is a project, Sons of Liberty, which I also helped produce. And they wanted to show John Hancock's house. They didn't have any money to really build much. So I said, well, if you can keep the characters within the confines of this space that you can build, which is, these two little pillars made of plastic, a couple of doors, and then a front door here. If you keep them there, we can do the rest. As long as the camera move is kind of simple, it's relatively impressive for not a lot of money. Here's an interesting shot. You may have noticed the guys walking with the green screen back there. Well, we got to the set and they decided they wanted to replace everything. Just everything except the actors. And they're going to walk all the way down the street, all the way down to the area to the far left. And of course, to build a giant green screen would be almost impossible or take lots and lots of time. So we said, this is the old Hollywood method, where I said, just get it, have a couple guys try to cover their outlines with the green and just follow them, and we'll get rid of them. Same thing, you know, Boardwalk Empire, we had big shipping containers that they painted blue instead of green. It could have been green, but blue. Being outside, sometimes it gives off a little blue reflection, which is more natural than green in this setting. And they built about 200 feet of boardwalk, and we said, just we'll do the rest. We do a lot of face work nowadays, not like this, but we do a lot of wrinkle removal and all kinds of stuff now that's become very popular. So that's that. And
Wow, it's amazing. That's amazing.
very quickly, I'll just show you, if you go to our website, let me just do this real quick, if we have a second. If you go to our website, and then go down to individual reels, these are some of the projects we've done in the last, I don't know, over the last 10 years, these projects. But you can look at individual reels, and there's all sorts of different things. We do pretty much everything except, I would say, creatures. We don't do, you know, Spider-Man and the Avengers and stuff like that. But just about everything else.
That's really impressive. I remember watching Boardwalk Empire, and I saw that unfortunate gentleman with part of his face missing, and I'm glad to learn right now that he is not out there walking around with that. So I appreciate it. Wow. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for that. We're going to open it up to questions, and they can come from any one of us. So, Rahul, do we have we don't need, I guess, a real hand would work. Rich, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so Greg, really impressive stuff. I was kind of wondering what, I guess, brought you to Vineland, or why did you move there? What's overall, I guess, what's bringing you back into New Jersey to do filming and production, post-production?
Okay, so yeah, like I said, Vineland, we were one of our executive producers was down there, and he introduced us to the mayor there, who's just fantastic, in their economic development office, and they were very interested in trying to, you know, take advantage of the New Jersey tax credit and help, you know, get film and TV production. I told them I would help them do that and help make Vineland a place, a destination where people can come. Personally, yeah, I was in LA a long time. I came back. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I came back and I got married again. So, and she's a teacher in Hawthorne, New Jersey. So now I go back and forth. So, I'm here, and I'm very happy because I am a very pro New Jersey fellow, and yeah, I'm very proud of New Jersey film. Even when I was in LA, so this is where films began. We came here. Edison, and then Fort Lee, and the history of film, and it's just rich. And I'd love to see New Jersey become the place on the East Coast. You know, Atlanta seems to be the place right now, but I think we can overtake them.
That's great, Greg. And one of our other speakers tonight, who unfortunately couldn't make it, was Charles Ricciardi, and he's the senior project manager for the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission. I think
Right.
you might have had some business with his office at some point.
Yeah, Steve Gorelick, who's also in that office. I think he's the head of the film commission, and a couple of their other people in the office came down to our building, and they were the ones that encouraged us to get the screen and to help, you know, turn this building into it and try and, you know, attract people to South Jersey. You know, a lot of filming is done in North Jersey, which I like, but South Jersey, they're trying to get people all across the state, and they thought that this building had great potential. So they came down and they're the ones who encourage us. If you have a building that has 50,000 square feet or more, and we have 50,000 square, you could be an official studio in New Jersey. So now we're an official studio, and so they can direct some projects to us now. Hopefully, while these other bigger studios are being built, we'll have a little bit of a head start. We're smaller, but there's things you could do in our building. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Rich. Any other questions? Maya.
Hello, everybody. I have a question about, so I'm learning Blender right now and I'm teaching myself, but what I'm really interested in is virtual production and setting that up. Like I've been playing with Unreal Engine and things like that, but my question, I guess, is specifically for Glenn in terms of how, do you have any tips on like virtual production and like what is the best way to track a 3D item into a scene? Because I know there's a way, you have the 3D shots and you put the 3D object, but I'm like, am I going to use After Effects? Like I'm new. So yeah, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, 3D compositing 3D objects can be it can be challenging, I would say. If you're shooting something and you're putting a CG object in there, it's always wise to either have tracking markers or something you can track on your background footage. But also important is to have a lighting reference of that environment. Now, in the old days, we used to use, I still have it actually. We used to use, it's funny, I kept it. We used to use this. We would take a photograph from here, then, go to the other side of the room, take a photograph, and the artist can flatten this out and see where all the lights are, or if you're outside, where the sun is at that exact moment, so that the CG artist, let's say you're, this is your CG object, they can light it in the environment accurately. So those are two really important things, which is tracking, so you can track the camera, but also a lighting reference. That's critical, really.
Thank you.
Otherwise, the artist is just guessing, which can be done, but it makes it tough.
Thank you. Ben, I think you had a question.
Yeah, that's correct. Hi, everyone. I had a question for Greg, mostly on the, your approach to distribution. How early in the process do you get to that part? And, really have like for example, for the zombie movie, how early did you secure a distribution deal? And how did you, what was your approach to secure that deal, I guess?
Yeah, thank you for that. But this is our first feature film, so we learned, quite a lot on the film, and it would have been great at the very beginning to have distribution or foreign distribution or something to help raise the money for it. That would have been great. But we completed the film, had it edited, and then we went to find a distributor. And we were, lucky enough to have a distributor called Freestyle, which is you guys probably know Freestyle Distribution, digital media division of Byron Allen's company. We had a couple others that were interested, but Freestyle has agreed to distribute all our future Weekly World News films. So that was a very big thing. So we're having that. So it came at the end, which was stressful, but that's how we did it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Don, question for you actually on I think Glenn brought up a little bit on the AI. What do you see, I guess, AI in the post-production process? Do you see it as additive or a little bit of a threat for sort of the services that you guys provide?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think necessarily our services will really be impacted, at least in the near future. What we're seeing is like it definitely handles within the editing softwares much more feasible that way, where like I'll do like transcriptions automatically, or it can even kind of like suggest certain cuts, mainly in more podcast format, where it'll like actually slice up where people kind of break their cadence. So I'm seeing in that way, but I think when it comes to like creative narrative and scripted stuff, me personally, I don't really see too much of a threat right now. But maybe the editors that are really handling the media and the software could say different. But I think from at least the Phiphen Studio side of it, we're pretty much more studio facility based as well. That's like 60% of our services. So as long as we're kind of providing the equipment and services that way, I think we'll definitely strive for sure.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get Charles onto here. So if anyone has a question, please go ahead and ask it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Jim?
Suzanne. Can you hear us, Suzanne? Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so I read a very scary article, I think it was in the Times Variety, about how movie production, the way we know it now, is going to be transformed by AI. So I was just wondering, having actors in a studio or on locations, that will go away and movies will be made almost completely with AI. What do you see? What do you think of that? And especially Glenn, do you use AI when you're dropping in any of your, the buildings and things like that? Or is it done a different way?
We have used AI, and I think it will be a big part of filmmaking. I'm sure you all heard about the strikes that happened over the summer, the actor strikes and the writer strike. They fought for some protections against that. So I think eventually there will be full AI features. They'll still need someone at the helm, I think, to make it good.
Mhm. Yeah.
We use AI all the time. And unfortunately, there has been a reduction in the amount of artists that we need because of that. And I think it's going to take over. I'm pretty certain. Except, I think you will need a critical eye. At least maybe, who knows? It's scary how fast it's growing. But I think you do need somebody who can look at an image and communicate with the director, to get them what they want. Right now, it does a lot of things, some well, some not so well. Something like, I'll give you an example, something we call rotoscoping. Let's say you have to cut a character out. It's what the computer's doing to Greg right now, in a crude way. On a feature, it's got to be perfect. Maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you might have an artist to work on a shot, cutting out every frame by frame. Now the computers learn this stuff quickly. So it may have taken 2 artists 3 days to do, one guy can do in like 20 minutes.
It's kind of like when you make a sticker on an iPhone picture and it outlines it for you.
And I think there's going to be some protections for our own protection, where was it Sora, I think it's called, that
Yes.
creation through that. It's dangerous. It can do a lot of great things, and all the examples they give, I see a lot of great things, but I don't see any actors in the videos they're creating. Maybe eventually, it'll be good enough where you'll have a full AI movie.
Well,
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm sorry, Suzanne. I just want to introduce Charles Ricciardi. He's been able to join us. So let me introduce him first, and I'll turn it over to him for the next 5 or 7 minutes. For nearly 30 years, Charles has been serving the local film community as the senior project manager for the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission. That's a state office that provides an array of services to enhance the experience of producers filming in New Jersey. Born and raised in Bergenfield, Charles studied film and television at the Tisch School of the Arts and received his master's degree in business and writing at NYU as well. He also has produced 5 independent films, including Drew, The Man Behind the Poster, an award-winning documentary feature about the legendary Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Back to the Future movie poster artist, Drew Struzan. I remember Charles a little before my time with the Ridgewood Guild Film Festival, but you also had films I saw in several of the early festivals. So welcome back. We appreciate your time tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much, Jim, for having me. I appreciate it.
So the floor is yours for the next 5 minutes. What can you tell?
Well, I mean, apologies for being late. We have, we're working. We have an event called Film Ready, which we're putting on tomorrow at the Morris Museum, and the Film Commission, amongst other things, is we work with filmmakers. We also work with local municipalities like Ridgewood, towns all over the state, to educate them and to help them understand the dynamics of hosting a film, preparing for all the kinds of obstacles that might come their way, and empower them so they know that they can handle it and they can work with the fire department, police department, and they can have these films shoot in their local, in their towns, in their communities, and not be necessarily scared or overwhelmed by the process. And it's been a wildly successful program. When we have towns go through this process, they actually become certified film ready, which kind of gives them a stamp of approval from a location manager and a producer's perspective, because they understand that the people in this town know how to host a film and that they're going to be welcoming. So we're doing this tomorrow. We've been doing this for about a year. We have another one coming. We're doing Bergen County in May. We're really excited. Maybe if you know people in town and they want to get involved, for sure, we can extend information for them. But yeah, like I said, we work with all kinds of projects and filmmakers, and help make their jobs easier in the state, whether it be find a location or work through any kind of regulation or permitting process, so they get it done, they get their project done correctly, on time, on budget, and they want to come back.
That's great. Now, is it just for bigger films, or even independent filmmakers can contact your office for assistance?
Oh, of course, we deal with studio projects like AMC, The Walking Dead, Dead City, and all their projects. But we work with student filmmakers in high school. We don't charge anything for what we do. We're very, it's kind of one of the things that sets our office apart. You get us on the phone, you talk to us, we'll exchange, information. We'll try to guide filmmakers as best we can. And there's really no judgment as to what kind of project or how big or small. We really believe that smaller projects, independent films, or even student films, these are the seeds you plant for tomorrow. And the people that have a good experience here in New Jersey and they enjoy shooting here, especially if they're from here, they want to come back.
That's great. I never would have guessed that it applied to student filmmakers as well. And as you know, we do a lot of work with student films and filmmakers, so that's great to hear.
Yeah.
We'll throw it back open for any questions to any of our speakers.
I have one for Charles.
Yes.
Hi,
Yes,
Charles.
Suzanne.
Hi, I think I spoke to you. So just like overall, if you're looking to film in New Jersey, what are the counties that have the best tax credits?
Well, the tax credit, the entire state has a tax credit. So it's a 30 to 35% tax credit. The 30% tax credit will cover the areas within the studio zone. The 25-mile zone that originates in Columbus Circle, in Manhattan, and spreads out across the state. We have always had an incentive. We've tried to speak with producers to encourage them to film all over the state, because we can't have everybody film in Jersey City and do the same thing. We have an amazing state north and south, and so the 35%, the extra 5% also covers, it's a little bit more incentive that covers the area outside of the zone down to South Jersey. And a lot of filmmakers have taken advantage of that, whether they're shooting in Atlantic City or anywhere, Camden. They absolutely enjoy those extra percentages. And we also have a very popular diversity bonus. So filmmakers that are would qualify by hiring women and minority people behind and in front of the camera, in all different kinds of roles, and satisfy a certain percentage, will get an extra 2 or 4%, depending on some of the the marks that they hit. And so that has been super popular with the studios and with all kinds of productions.
Is that on top of the 30 or 35?
Yes.
Wow. What is the Jersey Shore typically? What is that in?
Well, that would be more of a 35%, generally speaking.
What if you shoot
And
in
it's
two
where
locations?
you spend the money. So if
Okay.
you're incurring the costs of, let's say you're putting people in a hotel in Atlantic City, well, you're going to get an extra percentage for that. But if they're going to be in Fort Lee, then it's at the 30. And we have this all spelled out on our website. So I really want to make that known. It's www.film.nj.gov. And all of our financial incentives are listed and explained. They're updated. They're connected to the EDA's website, which that's the government department that manages the actual incentive, and all the other things too, like the regulations we deal with, like child labor, explosives, drone photography. All those regulations, you can read up on them. You can also, of course, we invite you to call our office about it too.
That's great. That's very helpful. If we have one final question, otherwise we can stop recording now. I just wanted to thank all of our speakers, and I also want to invite anyone to stay on after